Some of you might know uh, I got me some BB guns and I got me some Nerf guns. I mean, these things aren't going to kill anybody. But between the two, the one that had to have a signature is the Nerf one. It's Nerf. That seems kind of stupid to me. Meanwhile, the companies that make the BB guns, there's apparently three different ones that are in the same class as this one. One is from DPMS, I think that might be right. Someone's calling me from South Dakota. All of my calls from South Dakota so far have been either prank calls or harassment of some sort. That's probably one of Jamie's friends up there. Now the three different companies, you wouldn't think that they would make mil spec parts. Mil spec means military specifications, like a military butt stock. Two of those other companies, one of them, part of their parts are kind of sort of interchangeable, just like this one here. This one right here can accept a military butt stock. Matter of fact, it comes with a military butt stock. The butt stock that is on my BB gun can go on an M16 or an AR-15. The weird thing about that is that I can order the parts for that without a signature. If I want to get a different laser sight for my BB gun, I can do that, no signature. If I want to get a different rail for it or a different front end, I can do that, no signature needed. Matter of fact, I can get the whole thing sent to me, no signature. The whole BB gun sent to me. But this plastic toy right here, this is a toy. It should not be treated as a toy, even though it is, because then you teach bad habits. But it's not a real firearm. None of the parts for it are mil spec. If I take a part off if I order a part from an M16, like an M16 hand grip, it's not going to fit on this. If I order an M16 butt stock, it's not going to fit on this. If I order, literally, if I order any part that would fit on an M16, it's not going to fit on this. Even the rail on top is different size. Air rifles have a different standard size by just a little bit than actual rifles do. If you get a Picatinny rail or a 1918 mount, that Picatinny rail and 1918 mount are the same for every single firearm. But with BB guns, apparently now they're not making them comply with BB gun standards anymore. They're making it different. There's a lot of people who want the look. They want the look. They want the look. That's what they're looking for. There's people like my dad. My dad's a felon. He's not allowed to own a gun. But if you wanted to get one of these, it looks real. It looks real. If somebody came through, let's say that I'm some sort of person who's going to go breaking into your house, right? And I go breaking into your house, and you're pointing pointing that fucking thing at me from the top of the stairs. I'm not moving. Even if I think I might be able to make it out the door without getting shot, I'm probably going to stand right there with my hands up because it looks real. If it looks real enough that it would stop me in my tracks, it's probably something that looks real enough that a police officer will kill you for it. If I was walking down the street in Chapel, Nebraska with my Crossman, yeah, that would be my fault if I got shot. That would be 100% my fault for walking down the street with something that looks like a real firearm. But also, why is it that, all right, I have to pay for this stuff with a credit card, right? And you have to be at least 18 years of age or have a cosigner who's at least no, I think it's a cosigner who's at least 21 years of age to get one if you're underage, right? So, in order to order something that is marketed and sold as a toy, I have to sign a signature in addition to get that. But I could literally have M16 parts sent and there's no signature. That's stupid. Like, who writes these laws? Who makes these rules? Now, there's a part that I wanted. It was a better laser sight for it. I ordered the laser sight. I do have the laser sight, by the way, and it does work better than this one. It's one that, you know, if I got the laser sight that came with it, it doesn't project. It shows it in the little view screen that's on it, but it doesn't project it further. Now you notice in the movies, you know, they use those lasers. They point them at you. You can see the laser. You know that you should probably put your hands up and not move anything beyond that. And in the prison system, they use that as well. I mean, even if it's a beanbag shotgun, they still put the laser sight on it. Why is that? Intimidation. When you when you see that dot, that thing that they're aiming at you is right on your chest. Obviously, you're not going to see it if it's on your forehead, but you're going to see the red light that it's coming from. But they put that right on your chest. It occurs to you this is a very real situation. It occurs to you that that red dot that is on your chest is going to have a bullet coming right behind it if you move. They said that within the prison system that the red dots prevent them from really having to shoot anybody. I mean, how often do we have people shot by the guards at prisons anymore? They see that thing on their chest and they're fucking done. That 300-pound man that nobody wants to mess with, once he sees that dot, he's fucking finished too. He doesn't want to proceed. He'll stop bitching about the prison food. Just don't shoot him. Did I get that extra laser sight for intimidation against human beings? No, I didn't. I got it because the sight that's in this is in the BB one that doesn't project. It'll move. If your head is in the wrong place, if you move a little bit to the left, then the dot moves to the right. You move a little bit to the right, the dot moves to the left. Obviously, it's not going to be accurate. It's for something that, if something's within 25 feet of me, sure. If it's anything beyond 25 feet, forget it. With a laser sight, it also allows you to be able to see where the shot hits versus where your sight is pointing, which allows you to zero it in. Whereas if you're looking through that one on this, you can't sight it in. You have to just kind of general vicinity. But I don't know about you guys. When I go out shooting whatever it is that I happen to be shooting with, whether it's a water pistol or a BB gun or a Nerf rifle. I do want to hit what I'm shooting at. If I'm trying to hit a pop can so that I can hear it make a sound when I hit it, I'd like to know that I'm going to hit the pop can and not the neighbor's window 30 degrees off. Of course, I'm also one of those people who, if I see my neighbor's window 30 degrees off, it's not safe. See, I always consider safe from a lot of shooters will consider it from the ejection port. If you are a bystander or an object that is behind the ejection port of a rifle, obviously the bullet is ahead of that. When it leaves the chamber and goes through the barrel and comes out the end of the thing, all the way the hell out there, it's already 4 feet ahead of them, 3 feet, whatever it happens to be, and it's already traveling in that direction. It's not going to pull a Yui and come back and get you. I kind of consider my shoulder, my right shoulder, because I'm a right-handed shooter. I consider my right shoulder my safety. If I can see you in my peripherals, it's unsafe. Now, that's not actually the case necessarily, but then you also have to worry about a case. That's the there's two parts to a bullet. There's the case and there's the projectile. The case holds all the powder and the projectile goes in the end of it, and when it fires, it pushes the projectile out. That case goes out the ejector port. Some ejector ports will throw that case straight up in the air. Some of them will throw it 30 yards to the right. Yeah, 30 yards on a 30-06, some of those. They can really get to tossing it. But as a result of that, even if somebody's wearing eye protection, that's very hot when it comes out of there. If you're standing, to the right, somebody fires one of them 30-aughts, if you get hit with one of them brass casings, I mean, first of all, if you get hit with the front end, it's kind of sharp. Also, it's going to be hot. So, I mean, there is still a risk at that point, which is why I say behind my shoulder. If you're behind my shoulder, I can consider you reasonably safe. And before I shoot, I'm going to look behind me and make sure that you're there. I'm also going to make sure that you're stationary. Now, a lot of this comes from when I was a little kid. My stepdad got some golf clubs, right? And they were pretty short. And all of us kids were out in the backyard. We were playing with the golf clubs and the golf balls. And my little sister, Tara, she's way too close. So I tell her she needs to back up. And so she steps forward. Like, no, Tara, you need to back up. You're too close. See, there's a range on this. When I bring it back, I don't want to hit you. And I'm just a little kid. My older brother is also trying to explain it. His name is Eric, and he's there at the time too. And we're both telling Tara, you need to back up. So finally, Tara backs up. And as I start taking my swing, she steps forward. I sliced her right under the eye, just a little tiny slice under her eye with that golf club. Now, the last that I knew, she had backed up. I'd already explained it to her. My older brother had explained it to her. So I felt at that point that it was safe for me to swing that golf club. Now, my sister didn't end up permanently blind or any sort of crazy shit like that. She had a little tiny neck right here, and there was, I don't even know if it bled. I mean, it was a little bit of nothing. But my mom sure made a huge deal out of it. I definitely got my butt blistered. Although my mom was one of them people who would spank you. She's one of them people who would just do the waylay slap, or they're just slapping and slapping and slapping. It doesn't matter where they hit you, head, back, legs, wherever. Whatever they can hit you with. If you're covering up your head with your arms, they'll smack you in the back. You cover up your back, they smack you in the head. Whatever you're leaving open. Meanwhile, my mom still was trying to do that shit to me when I was 17 years old. I'm like, does she not get that I'm covering up? Because she's my mom. Does she not understand that if I wanted to fight back against this assault, that she would last about 2 seconds? That's one of the things that we teach women. We teach them that it's not okay to hit them back. It's never okay to hit a woman. Well, if she's trying to beat you to death, you fucking better. If she's trying to beat your kids to death, you fucking better. It's never okay to hit a woman. Well, it's never okay to watch a child get beaten to death. We got different opinions. My opinion is that we should stop blaming men for fucking everything when we have so many female predators getting locked up for things we pretend only men do. And we pretend all men do. We pretend that a woman would never. She couldn't have it in her. She's got a vagina, and vaginas mean that her emotions are different somehow. And then we've got the situation of the most likely victim. Like, yeah, sure, if most rape victims are women, then we do need to focus on that, but not to the exclusion of the other victims. Are women victimized more than men in a sexual capacity? Yes. Yes, they are. But with BLM, are BLM's claims true? No. No, they're not. While I can admit, as a victim of sexual assault and sexual abuse, that women are more likely to be sexually abused, that doesn't change the fact that I was sexually abused. But also, we listen to BLM tell us outrageous bullshit like they're the most marginalized of our society. No, the fuck they're not. Or they're the ones that are most targeted by police. No, the fuck they're not. Those titles belong to the disabled and the homeless. The disabled and the homeless. The disabled and the homeless. By the way, it's the disabled and the homeless. Did I mention that it's the disabled and the homeless? Now that's with the police and their marginality. That's not even taking into account the general public. And then we got to take a look at which predatory group. A lot of predatory groups, well, people they're going to marginalize the most are children or women, whoever it's easiest to exploit, which also just happens to be the disabled and the homeless. Y'all seeing a pattern here. You take away our rights. You make us victims by taking away our constitutional rights. And then you treat us like we're predators when we have to defend ourselves against predators because you won't do anything about it. You have already made a shitty fucking assumption right there. People wanted to assume that because of the way Natalie looked and the way that I looked, that I was the bad guy and she was the good guy. I was the druggie. She was sober. I was some sort of sexual deviant and she was this pristine virgin. Now, yeah, I just deposed and dethroned BLM on their bullshit. That doesn't mean that I'm not still willing to fight for black people, for them to have equal rights, because I'm fighting for me to have equal rights. Yes, I get that the entire movement is based on bullshit. There's a lot of the stuff that they're saying that's not bullshit, though. But their basis of they're the most marginalized, they're the most victimized, they're the most killed, they're the most this, they're the most that. No, I fit number one group and number two group. Matter of fact, if you look through the top five, I'm a member of all four in many of these groups that are the most victimized. The only one that I don't fit in that's in the top five is that I'm not a foster child. I used to be, but I'm not anymore. So the top five groups of people who are most likely to be victimized and marginalized, I am now or have been a part of. Now, knowing that black people aren't even in the top five, obviously I'm not black. Knowing that black people aren't even in the top five, I'm not doing what BLM is. I'm not saying, well, we need to focus on blacks right now because blacks are the most marginalized. If you don't agree with us, then you're a racist. Now, if I see a black person who is being abused in that way, I'm not going to go, oh, well, he's not homeless. It must be okay. I'm not going to go black on black crime fucking as an excuse. Well, black on black crime, black on black crime. Shut the fuck up, Chapel, Nebraska. Nobody cares about your bullshit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say, hey, what happened to that person is wrong. If I see you victimizing a black person in Chapel, Nebraska, I'm not defending that black person because they're black. I'm defending that black person because you are fucking doing something wrong to them. Whether it's over the color of their skin or their gender or their age, I don't give a fuck. The difference between this continuing for the rest of that dude's life and it having something done about it now is whether or not I want to mind my own business. Kind of like if you have a guy staying at your house and you walk by the bedroom door and you see Doug Cowden molesting his own fucking daughter, and you decide that instead of calling the cops, you're going to let him continue to stay there. And when he gets arrested for child molesting, then you run around town saying, bitch, you should have said something to begin with. That guy who saw Doug Cowden molesting his own daughter still lives in this town. I've even got the story that he told about walking by and seeing it happening. Several people have related to that story back to me. I record as much as I can. Right now, all my stuff that records is full. It can't record anymore. Fuck. On the bright side, there's also a lot of stuff that could help take a lot of these predators down. Not the way that you guys are talking about doing it, because you're never going to do that. Those of you who talk about how a bullet is the only cure, but you're not shooting them. You talk about taking off their genitalia, but you're not doing that either. I told you I would expose them, and I have done so. See, once you know that they're a sexual predator, then you can do something. If the victim never comes forward, well, then you got a major issue, especially, let's say there's a situation where the victim is not coming forward to the police. They want to come forward to you. You need to be wary. You need to be leery. You do need to record the conversation. You need to get her reasons for the fucked up shit that she did. Even if you're doing it out of the kindness of your own heart, you have to protect yourself. If she decides that she is going back to him in 2 weeks and you're being assaulted over it, all she's got to do is deny, deny, deny. But if you got it recorded, ain't no denying shit, motherfucker. If I rescue you because that dude threw you down a flight of stairs and half your back is fucking bruised, and then you go back to him, that's not my fault. That's not my decision. And if you go talking trash, try to cover your ass, and that's what a lot of people who are players do, by the way. A lot of people who are junkies and addicts, as soon as they get busted, the first thing they do is start running around telling everybody you're the bad guy. That is the very first thing they do. Guys tend to do this a lot less, but guys do it too. Anyway, I got to go get my cash card, and then I'm going to run down and get some food. Starmagia type dam. That's what my teacher did. He was the one who told about what happened to me. The cops did not believe me, though, so take care. You know, going to your teacher, that's in almost every single case that I've seen where somebody did something about a child molester, it's because the child told a teacher. In the situations where I've seen children tell the cops, they rarely do anything, and oftentimes they lock up the kid. I've seen parents do something about it. Now, parents, that's where something should be done to begin with. Some parents think their kids can do no wrong. And some parents think that their kids should be able to just magically fix it all by themselves and their kid must be at fault for whatever. My dad, when I was assaulted for the color of my skin in Lincoln High School, yeah, my dad assumed that it was my fault. When I got into a fight at school, it was a fight, but of course, I was able to finagle our way out of it. The kid who started the fight, I was able to, he would have been kicked out of school. He would have been kicked out of school. So I did tell a lie. I did. I said that I was in a hurry and I was trying to go up the stairs and I tripped and fell up the stairs because I had a cut on my head right here. But or a bruise or something. I don't remember what it was exactly, but I remember when we went in and we had to talk to the assistant principal. You know, we were both in trouble. And I was not worried about how much trouble I was going to get in. I wasn't the one who started it. But with that kid, I mean, dude, he was fucking scared shitless. His dad was going to come beat the living fuck out of him. I was actually kind of afraid of the same thing. Depended on how sober my dad was at the time. But the thing with this kid is that what happened was me and this kid got into a fight, legit, and there was a bunch of kids standing around saying, fight, 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 and everyone's gathered around. But they didn't ask any of the witnesses in. The assistant principal, he didn't ask um, any of those other kids to show up in the office and give their renditions. It was just me and the kid I fought with. And the principal asked me first. He said, "What happened?" I said, "Well, I was in a hurry to get to class. I tripped as I was falling up the stairs. He reached down to help me up, and all of a sudden, everybody's screaming, fighting. We're surrounded by people." That kid never gave me any problems ever again. Matter of fact, he was the one who encouraged me to talk to Mariana Diarmas. She was a girl I had a crush on up there. Um, Turned out Mariana had a boyfriend. He didn't take too kindly to that. I'm sure y'all know how that goes. In my defense, I didn't know she had a boyfriend. I just knew she was super nice. um, this stuff isn't for kids. My thing isn't for kids. Anybody who's got parental settings on their YouTube, your kids can't see this. So if there's anything on here that you guys find pertinent or important or want to impart upon your children, I would like to encourage you to do so. There's a lot of lessons that I know just because of where and how I live that you guys could learn a lot from. Instead of remaining ignorant and making decisions based on your ignorance, well, you could educate yourself before spreading more ignorance. I mean, for a lot of you guys, that's all you do is spread ignorance. Some of the people that you're telling this bullshit to are looking it up. And from the moment they look it up forward, they realize you're a fucking idiot. When you try telling me an old wives' tale, and I have access to the internet right here and right here and right here at my fingertips. Yeah, while you're telling me your bullshit story, I'm already looking it up. If I'm wrong, I admit it. See, that's how I used to be. If I was wrong about something, I'm looking it up while you're telling me something, and I look it up, and it turns out I'm wrong. I'll admit that I'm wrong on the spot. I will profess by mouth, as the good book says I'm supposed to. I was wrong. There's no problems with me saying, all right, I was wrong. You are absolutely right that that's the first hot air balloon ever. And I was incorrect, and I stand corrected. But if somebody is telling me some bullshit story and I look it up and it turns out that they're completely wrong, when I looked it up, I knew I was telling the truth. And oftentimes I even think to myself, I should show them. But some people are just in here too stuck in it. That does make things a little complicated. It also makes it so that you know right from the start that it's not worth arguing. I'll argue with Christians. I know it doesn't do any good. I know it's like arguing with a brick wall, but it's also the right thing to do. If I'm going to call me out on my bullshit, I'm going to call you out on yours, especially if it affects my life or the lives of children or anybody else who's innocent for that matter. And I'm not going to tell anybody that they shouldn't have the right to defend themselves. That's fucked up. I'm not going to tell somebody with a tag of mentally ill that when they come to me about an assault, I'm not just going to assume that they're wrong. See, unlike you guys who grew up with a bunch of neurotypical excuse makers, I grew up with the people that you guys victimize for being different, the people that you drive completely fucking crazy. The people that daddy rapes and mommy ignores until the point that she's chopping her limbs into pieces. Yeah, I'm locked up with that girl. Most of the girls that I was locked up with, when they were charged or locked up with the whole attempted suicide thing, it's mostly cutting themselves with a lady Bic. They're trying to get attention. They want you to listen. Hey, I tried telling you about dad. You wouldn't listen. It hurts me this much. And then they get put on suicide watch and they go into the nuthatch. Mom and dad are actually the ones that fucked up. Dad raped her. Mom didn't care. So now she's in a nuthatch. Her predators are free. Boys, it's different. Most of the boys that I was locked up with that were locked up actually attempted suicide. One of the kids I was locked up with, his name was Craig, he attempted to commit suicide on multiple occasions while locked up. He actually stole the meds off the med cart one day even. He was in there because he legit tried to kill himself, you know? Girls start cutting themselves at the age of 15 at 5 times the rate of boys. Boys start committing suicide at 5 times the rate of girls starting at the age of 15. Because boys are just told to man up. You just need to man up. You just need to man up. When a boy is victimized, you're taught that you can't admit it. You can't admit it or you're demasculated. If you admit, even as an adult, that you were molested as a child, you were automatically demasculated. And a lot of these same people who said, man, if something like that happened, fucking, I'd do something about it. Well, something like that did happen, and you're not doing anything about it except saying you're sorry when you don't keep your empty promises. Anyway, I'm gonna let y'all go. If we don't work together, we're screwed.